At least one person has been killed in floodwaters in North Queensland in a disaster that's been labelled a once-in-a-century event. The woman died in Ingham, north of Townsville, with intense rainfall leading to dangerous and life-threatening conditions. 1 metre of rain has fallen in sodden catchments over the past 48 hours. An emergency alert was issued for Hinchinbrook and late today for blue water north of Townsville. Meanwhile, residents in 6 so-called black zone low-lying suburbs in Townsville were ordered to leave their homes. There's been at least 40 swift water rescues across the region as days of torrential rain puts lives and homes in peril. Lily Nothling reports from Townsville.
It's a flood disaster huge in scale. Communities hit with astonishing amounts of rain. At Ingham, north of Townsville, floodwater filled streets and yards, claiming one woman's life.
An SES boat responding to assist members of the public in Ingham capsized at around 9:20.
5 people were rescued.
But sadly, one person was deceased.
As the torrent pushed higher, distressed onlookers called to a man trapped in a car.
Jump out, mate! Jump out! The window! Jump!
Desperately trying to work out how many people were at risk.
Is there anyone else?
He was alone and made it out.
Woo! Good on you!
If the rain doesn't stop, the river doesn't stop rising. So we just don't know, when it's going to peak.
This is threatening to be the worst flood that Ingham has seen in a century.
In Townsville, North Queensland's largest city, a door-to-door blitz. Police and the army telling those most at risk to get out.
Water in the Ross River is rising fast.
The biggest danger area has been dubbed the Black Zone. It covers 6 low-lying suburbs in Townsville. Many heeded the call to leave, flocking to evacuation centres.
With a small bag of clothes, just don't know how long I'm going to be.
I don't have a large income, so I'm going to lose everything. But at the same time, I'm worried about all my neighbours.
Others decided to stay put.
I'm going to wait it out.
Council modelling indicates up to 1,700 homes could be inundated above the floorboards by the time the flooding emergency ends. Concern has also ramped up in blue water in the city's north, where an emergency alert was issued this afternoon.
There is already homes that are inundated, so therefore people need to evacuate now.
At Applin's Weir on the Ross River, the raging torrents lured this man for a spot of fishing.
Not too cloudy, not too wet, fish are biting. Beautiful.
Authorities are warning people to be alert for crocs.
The crocodiles are something that we are looking out for.
A sense of humour in the face of disaster. Lily Nothling, ABC News, Townsville.
Well, let's bring in the ABC's Joe O'Brien, who is on the ground in Townsville. Hi, Joe. What's it like there tonight?
Hey, Lorna. Well, it's still pretty miserable. People of North Queensland are used to heavy rain, but this really has been something else. It's the persistence of the driving rain over several days that's caught people off guard and led to these huge rainfall totals. So many places getting around a metre of rain. It actually cleared up here, believe it or not, it cleared up here in Townsville a bit this afternoon. There are actually people out running, but the Bureau says there is plenty more on the way, particularly tonight. And so while there is optimism around, we were talking to people today, there's optimism, there's a lot of concern about what could happen tonight.
Talk us through where you are, Joe, with that river running through the town.
Yeah, okay. Further over is the Ross River and Railway Estate, which is one of those black zones. You heard Lily Nothling reporting about them a little earlier. We were in one of those zones a little earlier today. The Ross River was near to breaking its banks, and the police were coming around and soldiers coming around and knocking on the doors and telling people to get out. We spoke to a couple of people there. A couple of them were kind of reticent about leaving, but decided they would. There are some who have decided to stay. In that media conference today, authorities say there's about 10% of people who decided to stay, and authorities had set a deadline of midday for people to leave suburbs like Railway Estate. But in that media conference, they made that announcement about their concern 1,700 homes could go under tonight in terms of water over the floorboards. And they're telling people there, if you are still there, get out before nightfall tonight, because it's going to be incredibly dangerous, not only for you, but for the people who are going to try to save you as well. Yeah, in that media conference just a couple of hours ago, the gravity of the situation tonight really came home.
As you mentioned, Joe, the Weather Bureau is saying there's more heavy rainfall over the next 24 hours. I mean, what more can be done in terms of preparing these communities?
Well, not much at this stage. The authorities have done all they can to get people out. The people have been sandbagging as much as they can. But now it's just up to what happens with Mother Nature over the next kind of 12 hours in particular. And the deep concern is that we're going to continue to see some of this really heavy rain. Someone from the Bureau was saying a little earlier, we're down to the stage now where we're only getting about 20 to 30 mils an hour. That's an indication of just how intense this has been. And in a couple of hours, when the clock struck 9 this morning, after that, that's when the Bureau starts counting the rainfall registrations again. Within an hour or two, places were up to 140 mils of rain. So it's just been so relentless, and it looks like that's going to continue tonight. Yeah, and
I can see it's pretty flat behind where you are, but is there concern about the runoff from the hills around in terms of that coming down into Townsville later?
Not really, because the Ross River Dam is about 19 k's that way. There's been controlled releases from that dam over the last several days because it's at something like 160% of capacity now. And so despite the fact that they've been doing releases from that, it's continued to rise because there's just been so much rain coming down. And so it's the concern about the mixture of those releases and this continued heavy rain, which will see suburbs like Railway Estate possibly, a number of homes in Railway Estate having water through them tonight.
What sort of facilities are there, Joe, for people who have decided to leave their homes? I know there was anxiety from some that they couldn't find anywhere to take their pets, that sort of thing.
There are a couple of, and I'm just getting pelted by rain here myself now as another band's coming in. There's a couple of evacuation centres set up now, and we went to one a little earlier today. There wasn't much happening there, but there are facilities set up for people if they need them. A heap of people who were leaving Railway Estate earlier today were going to friends and family rather than those evacuation centres.
All right, Joe, get in the dry. Thanks very much.